plant-based hope punk was not a genre I thought I'd be interested in, but I am here for it for sure. Didn't know it needed to be existing in the world, but now it definitely sounds like it does need to be.
And welcome to OPL's mini-episode series, New Title Drop, for August 2026, where we share new titles coming out this month. I'm Mark, here with Melanie. Unfortunately, Angela can't be with us today, but new books are coming anyway.
That's right, and it's August, which always, in my mind, means back-to-school shopping, whether I'm in school or not. So I would like to know your thoughts. Did you love back-to-school shopping when you were a kid, or did you hate it?
You know, it wasn't something that I really looked forward to. I didn't really kind of grow into myself until my early 20s, so it was like, am I the fat kid this year? Am I the gangly kid this year? It was like the back-to-school fit never felt all that fresh.
Yeah.
But new notebook season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
Just fresh lined paper, like,
That's right. Yeah, for me, like, I enjoyed the clothes shopping somewhat because it's always nice to get some new clothes. But yeah, the clothes were not the exciting part. The exciting part was the school supplies. Everything was brand new. You got to have a fresh start. Picking out, like, who's my identity going to be this year? Like, as fourth grade Melanie, am I going to be a Lisa Frank girl, or am I going to be a cat lover, or am I going to go, like, all out with just, like, one color? Like, is purple my color this year? You know, like, planning all of that out. And now that I have kids, I get to, like, re-experience that every time I, take them back to school shopping. I don't feel like they love it as much as I do, but, when I see that back to school list from the school, sometimes I'm a little annoyed with it for like a second. I'm like, seriously, what? But then I'm like, oh, okay, we got to strategize. Like, apparently you need a red, a yellow, and a blue folder, but your notebook could be anything, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've gotten very disconnected from the back-to-school game. Has there been, like, a breakout school supply for this generation?
Oh,
like,
that's
is there
a great
trapper
question.
keeper?
There's not a trapper keeper. Like, pencil boxes are still very much in, and then it's a matter of whether the teacher allows, like, a plastic pencil box, or if you can get a cloth one that's, like, cool and, like, Pokemon or something, So, yeah, I can't think of anything super exciting. Lunch boxes are always fun to play around with. And then, even backpacks. It's like you can get any animal as a backpack now, basically. Nice. And, they only last 1 year, but that's really all you need, because then the next year you're going to be a whole new person. So
Exactly. Can't overcommit to these things.
That's right.
Fantastic.
Yep.
As we get excited about a new school year starting, we're also excited about titles releasing this coming month. The first one that I'm excited to share with you is Murder at the End of the World by Akane Araki, which will be releasing on August 4th. A meteor is on a collision course with the Earth. The entire human race has 3 months to live. Uncontrollable panic is set in across the globe, but 23-year-old Haru is still determined that she's finally going to get her driver's license.
Yes.
When Haru and her ex-cop driving instructor Isagawa open their car trunk one day, they find the corpse of a murder victim inside.
Oh, no.
Of course, they feel duty-bound to investigate, and together they set off on a road trip through the crumbling landscape around them to hunt for the killer. That I've borrowed mostly from the publisher. Hocus Review says, part mystery, part road trip. Araki's brisk novel rests on a cushion of banter between these two women. Despite the dark premise, it's surprisingly entertaining. Araki stylishly depicts the duo's blossoming friendship, their shared fervor to untangle this complex mystery, and the growing confidence reflected in Haru's engaging first-person narration. Simmering just beneath the surface is a slyer exploration of human behavior in the face of imminent disaster. A refreshing Japanese whodunit with a charming detective duo. This is Araki's debut novel. Murder at the End of the World actually won the Mystery Writers of Japan's Edogawa Renpo Prize in 2022, but it's newly available in translation by Jesse Kirkwood. I'll give the last word on the topic to Adam Oyebanji, who says, quirky, punchy, paradoxically life-affirming. That asteroid may be coming, but there are still driving lessons to be taken, murders to be solved, and people to be cared for. An enthralling tale that looks head-on at the end of the world and refuses to blink.
I love it. That sounds great. All right, my first one is The Inevitable Undoing of Zahara Douglas by Leslye Penelope, and it comes out August 11th. I was able to get a hold of an early copy of this title, and I'm working my way through it right now, and the story just sucks you in right away. So Zahara is at home chatting with her twin sister Annika about a spider in the house, and then the next thing she knows, she sees her sister running out of the house down the street. She chases after her, watches Annika get into a car she doesn't recognize, and they drive away. So Zahara calls the police, telling them, hey, my sister just got kidnapped. Like, what is happening? But she didn't get the license plate. She walks back to her house, her neighbor's standing outside with the license plate written down. So Zahara calls the police back, only for them to tell her they don't have any record of anyone reporting a kidnapping that day. Back at home, her mother is asking what's wrong, and Zahara tells her, Annika's been kidnapped. The moms reply, who's Annika, a friend from school? Eventually, Zahara is admitted to a hospital where she learns she'll never get to leave if she doesn't just go along with things and say, okay, sure, her twin sister isn't real. And so now here she is, years later, continuing to live her life, not only as if that day never happened, but as if her twin sister never existed at all. On the verge of Y2K, which I guess makes this a historical fiction, somehow Zahara hires a PI to track down the only evidence she can think of, finding that her sister was real. That license plate number, even though a psychic tells her that in saving your sister, you will doom the world. So I've got a little world dooming in mind, too. Publishers Weekly says this book is a true page-turner, with author Jared Poon saying it's an intimate family story crossed with a conspiracy mystery and a wired late 90s adventure. The Inevitable Undoing of Zahara Douglas is exhilarating and full of surprises. And author Holly Overton says it's a moving story about sisterhood, lost souls, and our complicated and potentially destructive relationship with technology.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I love that sort of that genre of like gaslit disappearance.
Yes.
Is such a great hook to start the story with.
Definitely.
The second book I've got for us today is, sometimes I'll skip the subtitle. This time I've got to include it. It's The Divine Gardener's Handbook, or What to Do If Your Girlfriend Accidentally Turns Off the Sun. Written by Eli Snow, will be releasing on August 18th of 2026. There are some books where any two attempts to offer a summary are going to sound completely different. Sometimes sound completely unhinged. Divine Gardener's Handbook is one of those in the best way. In a Jenga-stacked megacity, where glowing blue flowers hum in the dark and palace doors open into secret worlds, getting a job in the Divine Gardens is almost impossible, like being plucked from obscurity by a carnival claw machine. But Cyprin has spent her whole life trying. Her only chance is winning the annual flower pageant, dominated for 5 years by Purcell, the brilliant hen gardener, unbearable rival, and the one person that Cyprin just can't stop thinking about. E.B. Asher calls this a fiercely imaginative ride, the kind of novel that makes you want to stay up late reading. It has gardens full of so much more than meets the eye, entertaining characters harboring major secrets, and a story that manages to be funny, heart-wrenching, profound, and relatable, sometimes all in one sentence. Snow has previously had success in YA fantasy, writing as Elias Cold. You may remember The Duke Steals Hearts from last year, and they're getting lots of praise for this adult debut, with many reviewers recommending it for fans of Tamsin Muir. I'm particularly fond of this description from Julie Lung. This book is pure chaotic good. Queer, wildly imaginative, plant-based hope punk that you'll want to inject directly into your veins. A maniacally good time.
Plant-based hope punk was not a genre I thought I'd be interested in, but I am here for it for sure. Didn't know it needed to be existing in the world, but now it definitely sounds like it does need to be. All right. My next one is Take What You Can by Naima Coaster. It comes out August 4th. I'm excited for this latest from the author of Halsey Street and the Read with Jenna Pick What's Mine and Yours, because the publisher's description has a lot of things that make a book an automatic must-read for me, or at least one that I must put on my to-be read list and get to someday. They call it, quote, a rich panoramic exploration of female friendship, class, new motherhood, and independence, end quote. And bonus, it also has travel. So this one has two women, Val and Millie, in a study abroad program in France who bond with each other as the only Black students in the group. On the trip, they meet an older woman, Helene, who they also form a bond with as she takes these two motherless daughters under her wing. Now it's years later, and the two are in their 30s, both pregnant with their first children, living in different cities as they've grown apart a bit. Millie suggests that Val move to New York to raise the daughters together. While she does this, the publisher says, the realities of class and social capital, of strained marriages, and the demands of motherhood serve as constant reminders of how far apart they've grown. The publisher says, Take What You Can is a dazzling novel exploring what it means to be a mother when you have none, a sister without blood ties, and a woman in pursuit of the life she wants. With her signature, sharply observed prose, Coster illustrates what it means to be and to stay someone's person through all phases of life. Town and Country calls it a gorgeous exploration of chosen family and female friendship. And author Catherine Newman said, Take What You Can is so brilliantly, unbelievably good, I have a burning in my heart from gulping it down too fast. It is somehow both taut and expansive, a literary feat I don't understand. And it's about the pleasure, grief, and devotion of daughters, mothers, lovers, wives. But mostly it's about the coming together and coming apart of a singular epic friendship between two women. Love is utterly bewildering, and nobody writes about it better than Naima Coaster.
That is, I'm almost rendered speechless by how good that description is.
I know. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, that immediately goes on my very long TBR.
The cover is beautiful, too, if you haven't seen it. It's got, like, people cheersing at a table with some charcuterie around them and stuff. It looks like you want to be there.
Excellent. I'll take that food as an anchor point and say, speaking about Totally Nachrageous by Alex P. Taylor, which will release on August 25th, I'm on record as a cookbook fan. One of my favorite things about cookbooks is that there really is something for every mood. Some days I want to feel really chefy, and I just live in an Ottolenghi world. Some days I want to learn about the culture and history of food, and I'll break out the Claudia Rodin. Some days I just want to crank that dial past Flavortown and wallow in something really sloppy and indulgent. And boy, does this book deliver on that wish. Taylor is a regional television personality and social media star. He's been nicknamed the Nacho King of Connecticut. His passion for chip and cheese-based creativity shines in this all-nacho cookbook. Recipes range far beyond your typical sports bar or Mexican restaurant fare into vegan nachos, dessert nachos, holiday nachos. One standout being a nacho plate inspired by the Easter kielbasa you might find at a Ukrainian or Polish family home. Most of the recipes are novelties for the gram-given flesh, but the book is no joke. Every recipe has big, beautiful photo, a playlist suggestion, most often like a companion sour cream custom dip, and the book ends with an appendix of notable nachos available in restaurants across the U.S. Chef Dave White opines, forget sad, soggy chips and basic melted cheese. These nachos came to party. Packed with bold flavors, outrageous toppings, and just the right amount of mess, this book is your ultimate guide to building stacks so good you won't want to share. And honestly, you probably shouldn't.
Oh, that sounds so fun. How do you become the Nacho King of Connecticut? And does every state have a Nacho King then? Like, this is.
I can only assume that you have to defeat the previous Nacho King.
Yes, definitely. In an epic battle. All right. My next one is The Seekers of Deer Creek by Thao. It comes out August 4th. This author's first book, Banyan Moon, has been on my TBR since it came out, and now I'm adding her second one to that list as well. You may be asking, Melanie, do you have any books to recommend this month that aren't about sisters? Yes, I do. Is it this one? No, it is not. So in this book, sisters Vivi and Calla, one a conservator, the other an artist, had a falling out after the death of their father. But months later, Calla comes to Vivi with something she has found in their father's belongings, a sketch of a famous surrealist Vietnamese painting, along with a mysterious letter, both of which seem to prove that the family has a connection with the famous artist. The investigation reunites the sisters and brings them to travel to France, Vietnam, and their childhood home in Wisconsin. Shelf Awareness says, tender and spiky like the sisters' relationship, The Seekers of Deer Creek mixes art history, family secrets, and psychological insight to create a dynamic portrait of two unforgettable women. Booklist says, at the center of the story is Vivi and Calla's relationship, messy, vulnerable, and frustrating in an honest and relatable way. Ty brilliantly intertwines fear and wonder in her lyrical prose, maintaining a delicate balance that is deep and tender. And the publisher says this is a story of sisters, art, and the irresistible gravity of the past, how it endures across time and generations, always present, even when buried.
I'm really glad you featured that one. Thank you. Similarly, I guess staying on brand, I am not beating the features too many apocalyptic books allegations. Don't know if that's on me or if it's on 2026, but my last title for the day is The Salt King by Natasha Pulley, which will release on August 18th. New from Pulley, who wrote The Mars House and The Hymn to Dionysus, The Salt King is apocalyptic sci-fi about the power of belief. Jesuit priest Evelyn Brocken was born in an isolated salt mining community in England, taught to believe in a sleeping god called the Salt King, and raised in a charismatic religious community that was prepared to sacrifice to keep the god slumbering in its mine. When tragedy struck in his teenage years, he rejected those traditions, moved on to pursue a new life and a new faith. But when a series of deadly miracles begin to occur connected to the mine and to other salt deposits around the world, Evelyn is dispatched to investigate the strange phenomenon and falls into a slow-burning romance with the town's doctor, whose approach to the mystery entwines them in a counterbalance of faith and doubt, as Publishers Weekly shorthanded it like an apocalyptic X-Files episode. Helen Wecker, author of The Golem and the Jinni, says, The Salt King is a multi-genre marvel, a concoction that's equal parts adventure tale, tender-hearted romance, and apocalyptic vision. With enviable dexterity, Pulley mixes religion, science, and magic, never letting up the tension as her story sweeps us around the globe. But it's her characters who truly bring the book to life, their voices droll and earnest, melancholy and hilarious. I guarantee you'll be thinking about this book long after you turn the final page.
Nice. Sounds great. Okay, my last one is Hocus Pocus by Brinda Charry. It comes out August 11th. This is the one book this month that I have that's not focused on sisters. The publisher calls this a story about art, ambition, and desire, and captures the crackling energy and wonder of a bygone era through the eyes of a young performer. That young performer goes by the name of Samuel Thomas. He's a child raised in the late 18th century in an English-speaking orphanage in India before spending a few years performing magic in England and before ultimately immigrating to Boston when he is 25 in 1816, the year without a summer, which I had to look up because I know I'd heard of it, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. Have you heard of it? Yes. So what I found, a volcano on an Indonesian island erupted, which blasted tons of ash, dust, and sulfur dioxide across the globe. In the U.S. and in New England in particular, it caused unseasonable cold and even snow. So a pretty fascinating time to set a story in. And back to that story, Samuel meets Nathaniel in Boston. He is the proprietor of the new Boston Museum, which happens to be on the brink of bankruptcy. Nathaniel thinks that Samuel could be an ideal first live addition to the collection. And here I'm thinking we need to cue the Greatest Showman soundtrack, because that's what immediately is coming to my mind. The publisher says the relationship between the two men quickly becomes complicated as Nathaniel grows more and more fascinated and even obsessed with the young foreigner. As Samuel becomes subsumed within the museum and dependent on Nathaniel, he must reckon with how much he's willing to give up to achieve success. Booklist says, drawing from the stories of real Indian magicians who performed in America in the 1800s, Charry vividly captures the anxiety and superstition of the year without summer, when it snowed in June, and the America and America was a young republic just beginning to grapple with slavery. And Library Journal says Charry's artfully layered story touches poignantly on themes of identity, creativity, and grief, while maintaining a narrative momentum that will keep readers hooked until the last pages. All the titles mentioned can be found in a list in our episode description. Stop by on the first Tuesday of every month to hear about new books coming out dropping that month. That's our episode. Thanks for joining us for our new title drop, August 2026.
Hola, soy Adrián.
Y yo soy Ángela.
Somos sus anfitriones de Libroteca,
el podcast en español de la Biblioteca Pública de Omaha.
En cada episodio hablaremos de historias fascinantes, al igual que recomendaciones de libros que puedes encontrar aquí.
Compartiremos historias, ideas y temas que conectan a nuestra comunidad.
Sintoniza Libroteca y únete a la conversación.